Just like Star Citizen Alpha 3.0 completely revolutionized the way we play the game compared to Alpha 2.0, I think the same phenomenon will happen with the transition to Alpha 4.0 and onward. And while most of these changes will not happen overnight, they have been mentioned by Cloud Imperial Games developers on multiple occasions and have been in development for many years at this point. And the reality is that the closer we get to the next major iteration of Star Citizen, the closer these major changes are coming. And so, in today's video, I wanted to take a look at what those would entail. So the first profession that we are going to be talking about today is the mercenary profession, because that's the one that perhaps will change the least, apart perhaps from the fact that we are going to have better NPCs in the sense that they are going to be working smarter, like some of those videos that we've seen in CitizenCon last year. But also, the play areas are going to be larger as well, as probably we are going to be doing those jobs in the much larger underground facilities that have been under development for quite some time, and that once again we should see at CitizenCon. There should also be more derelict outpost operations. I think that the Ghost Hollow on Macrotech is a great example for a test bed for these kind of missions, but I would like to see more of those on other planets as well, and I am quite confident that this is not just going to be a unique experience, but we're perhaps also going to be seeing such missions in locations such as, for example, the new Pyro system that's coming up in 4.0. Speaking of the Pyro system, I do believe that Pyro is also going to be changing the profession quite a bit, because finally traders are going to be able to operate in interstellar routes, not just inside the Stanton system, but from one system to another, and this is going to completely change the way that this profession is being operated, with the logistics being involved, with the route planning, perhaps a little bit of reconnaissance as well to make sure that there are no hostiles or players disrupting the routes. It's also going to be a great way to make more profits as well, because perhaps some of the items that can be produced in the Pyro system are unique to that system and are not produced in Stanton, so as a result they could be quite expensive in Stanton, but also with great risk comes great reward as well, so we should be expecting some of these commodities to be illegal, and so as a result would have to be smuggled to the landing zones in order to be able to be sold. The Alpha 4.x branch is also going to be bringing the dynamic economy to the game that we have seen for quite some time, and this is also what is going to make the prices of commodities fluctuate based on offer and demand. But not just that, it's also going to be related to the production in-game of the facilities that are present throughout the game universe. So factories are going to be producing goods, but the prices of these goods will also depend on the prices of the resources that they would be buying. So everything should be linked, and once again players should be able to make their own business decisions based on the state of the economy that is going to be dynamic. Last but not least, regarding training here, well, that's going to be cargo management in the future. Well, the cargo boxes are not going to magically appear in ships anymore. There will be cargo elevators from which we are going to have to manually load and unload our cargo boxes, so that's going to be quite a lengthy process if you have a large ship like a C2 Hercules, for example. The next profession that is going to be changing will be the bounty hunting profession. We all know that Star Citizen developers are working on a bounty hunting V2 now, which is going to differ quite a bit from the current state of the profession, in which we just need to find our target and kill it and we get paid. That's not how it's going to be anymore. Probably there are going to be bounties where we're going to have to kill the targets, but that's probably going to be the minority. I can imagine that most of these bounties will actually require to bring the criminals alive, so that's why they're developing these bounty hunters pods that we can put inside ships and that will be delivering at security outposts or perhaps security decks at the landing zones. This also means that the magic markers are going to disappear. No longer will we see magically where our target is located in real time. Instead, we are going to have to consult the local comm arrays, which are basically satellites that give us the status of whatever is happening in its own area. Now, what's going to be happening if our target is in the Paro system? Well, there are going to be NPCs that will act as informants, and these are the ones that basically know everything that's going on in the Paro system or in those lawless systems, and they should be able to also give us information about where our bounties are located. Investigation missions are also going to change quite a lot in the Alpha 4.x branch. Actually, that's the kind of mission that hasn't changed much from 2.x to 3.x. The investigation missions that we have right now involve, for example, going to the Kovalek station, where you have to find evidence that the operator responsible for the destruction of the station was actually not really responsible for the destruction of the station. Well, this mission has not changed, and it's kind of like the only one that's currently like this. It's also voice acted, which is awesome, but we are going to have more missions like those, including, for example, finding suspects of various crimes and confronting them and eventually bring them to justice. These missions are really going to be quite different compared to what we are used to right now in Star Citizen, because they're going to be involving not just action and violence, but also some wits, some puzzle as well, and players who are more used to a kind of lone wolf and also more laid-back type of gameplay will certainly enjoy those kind of missions. Next, let's talk about smuggling, and that's also going to be quite a change because, as mentioned earlier, there are going to be definitely new illegal commodities that will be produced in the Paro system, and so obviously it's going to be quite a lucrative operation to transport those goods to landing zones, or at least in the sentence system. So I can definitely imagine that there are going to be quite a lot of smugglers, but also security forces to try to catch those smugglers as well. Perhaps there will be missions to find smugglers, scan ships, and find whatever they have inside, which perhaps also is going to be bringing finally some usefulness to the shielded cargo that some ships have. I'm thinking here of the Mercury Star Runner. And the last profession, it's not really a profession right now, but it's something that you can do in 3.x, is just being a crewman. Well, that is also going to change quite a bit because the engineering gameplay is coming to Star Citizen Alpha 4.0, and so you'll be able to fix the ship, have access to the various components of the ship. If there's a fire, you'll have to extinguish it. Anything that goes wrong in a ship, well, if you're a crewman, your job will be to make sure that the ship is repaired and works at the best it can. Also, you'll be able to operate new stations in ships, including tractor beams, which are also coming in 3.21 actually, but should definitely be very useful onwards, especially as we are going to have to manually load and unload cargo. And I can particularly see this station here being very useful for a pirate ship, especially those who have a caterpillar. Finally, cargo handler is also going to be quite a very useful job because, well, we are going to have to unload and load our cargo boxes onto freight elevators, and if we do that alone, that's obviously going to take longer than if we do that with people. So perhaps maybe we could pay people to do that for us at the same time as we are doing it too, and this could perhaps drastically reduce the loading time of the cargo. And as we all know, time is money, so the shorter the operation, the more money you can make per hour, which is why it would make sense to hire players and in the future NPCs as well to do that for us. And of course, these changes will only be a mere part of what is to come following the release of Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 and its following quarterly patches, as more professions will eventually be fleshed out, such as, for example, passenger transporter, farming, or data running. For all these past years here, Star Citizen has been blocked by the limitations of its servers, but as server meshing is making progress and ever gets closer to completion, the time has come for the devs to finally finalize all the work that they have been working on behind the scenes, as confirmed by everything we've seen in Inside Star Citizen and monthly report. But let me know in the comment section down below, guys, because that's our giveaway question. Subscribe to the channel and answer the question right now. What profession would you like to see fleshed out in Star Citizen Alpha 4.0? I would love to read your answers. People who support the channel on Patreon and via the YouTube membership program will have also automatic access simply by entering their name on Discord. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Big shout out to Dr. Fabin, Deplorable Fidel, and Zero Crusher for their support on Patreon, and everybody else who also backed the channel. Your support means the world to me. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Cheers. Thank you so much for watching. A premium video like this one takes a lot of time and effort to record and edit, and I am aware that you'd like to see more of these as much as I'd like to produce more as well. This is why I rely on YouTube and Patreon members as well as Twitch subscribers to keep the lights on and help me become one day a full-time content creator. The closer you help me achieve this goal, the more I can do for you. Together, we've already accomplished so much, and I cannot thank you enough for your support. You are making all of this possible.